And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of our brand new From the Bench podcast, here courtesy of KDSJ Radio. I'm part of Riverfront Broadcasting. Anyways, I'm your host, Clayson Davis, and here with head football coach Josh Breske, head man of Black Hill State University football, also my former head coach during my playing days at Black Hill State. So anyways, Coach Breske, thanks for coming into the Millstone and hopping on the show.
It's my pleasure to be here. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's honestly been a while since, of course, back when I worked at the college, I used to bother you guys about every other week when I worked for the college newspaper and everything. But, no, it's been a while.
It has, man. I miss your face around the YC. I do see you running a lot around town lately.
Oh, I've been trying to keep myself busy here around Spearfish. But, no, and you're right in the middle of your busy season with the middle of fall going on. And you guys just finished up your first game. Nice win over Southwest Baptist. And just starting to get back into the flow of things from the looks of it.
For sure, yeah. There's always it seems like there's new firsts every year, even though every year seems to kind of be the same, right? And so little things, we started the game and didn't have our signaler hats out there. We were missing the whiteboards, and it's like we just got to get back into the flow of things. And we got a really good bunch of coaches this year. I have a full staff, 4 GAs, 5 full-timers, 2 restricted earnings guys. So there's a lot of helping hands on deck, but yeah, we head out tomorrow morning for our first road game, and just making me think, like, what are we gonna leave behind?
We have everything?
I don't want to be cynical, and I told the guys this morning, I said, I'm putting all my faith that we're gonna have everything that we need. I'm putting my faith in you guys, and I know they'll rock it out. So
yeah, guys, headed over to St. Paul, Minnesota, battling a Division I opponent in St. Thomas. Second year, you guys have gone up there and getting ready to play what's their mascot again?
The Tommies.
The Tommies. I knew it was something weird.
Yeah.
But, if you are a St. Paul fan or a St. Thomas fan, I do apologize for making fun of your mascot, the Tommies. But, no, last year you guys played them really, had a slow start. But then toward the ending of the game, it really seemed like you guys were giving them pretty much all they can handle.
It ended up being a great matchup when we finally settled in. Yeah, unfortunately, first play from scrimmage for either team, we threw a pick six. They kicked off. We got the ball back. We worked it out to the 50, fumbled. They went down and scored. We got a ball back, punted. They went down and scored again, went for 2. It's 22-0 at the end of the first quarter. And so we fought our way back in. We actually went into halftime down 22-19, so we scored 19 unanswered points, and it was a great feeling. We banged a field goal right as time expired in the second quarter, and we sprinted inside. The dudes were amped. They were fired up. But, yeah, we kind of chased points the rest of the game. We were just a score behind them and couldn't necessarily get the stops that we needed. But we recovered an onside kick in the fourth quarter after we scored, went down, scored off of that, and then onsided again, and we needed that one, and we didn't get that one, and we just ran out of time. But no.
Yeah, I was talking with former teammates of mine, of course, those still on the team there at BH. It just seemed like, yeah, you guys really not necessarily lost that game, but more or less just ran out of time.
Yeah, that one we felt like we ran out of time for sure because, it's kind of funny. The first play from scrimmage last year, we throw a pick six. The first play of our season this year, we gave up a kick return to the house. And I got to tell you, man, it's not a great feeling. It's a horrible feeling, actually, but I think we handled it really well. We stayed calm through that this weekend, and our team, they just hung tough, and we fought the entire game. I think we played really, really hard. I wish we would have played with a little bit more focus and execution, but the effort was definitely there.
Awesome. Well, as we kind of break open this episode here on the From the Bench podcast, here with Clayson Davis, we're here at the Millstone, the lovely Millstone Restaurant. I want to thank them again for giving us this nice, open kind of back room. No one's here to really bother us at all, but even if they are, they can come in, watch a live show. But again, want to thank our friends the Millstone for hosting the From the Bench podcast and sponsoring KDSJ Sports as well, especially our high school sports. As last week we had a head coach for Spearfish Spartan football, Tom Teason, in here as he recapped the upset win of Spearfish over number 3 ranked T area. Did you get a chance to check out that game?
I stayed for the whole game. It was incredible. Yeah, unfortunately, I walked in, I think, as Spearfish was scoring their first touchdown. But, boy, they look like a team possessed right now. Athletically, they look bigger, faster. More disciplined. That's all a product of just kind of that process that Dalton started with those guys when he first took over with Derek Webster's class back in the day and started changing the culture through COVID. Derek was just telling me yesterday, they were meeting daily as a senior group with Dalton via Zoom while Dalton was still down in Nebraska. And, Tom's done a great job just taking the ball and continuing to roll it forward. So it's exciting, man. The Spartans are 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0. We're on the road to – we're heading to Mitchell this Saturday. So, in fact, it'll be a busy weekend at KDSJ Sports because, Friday you'll get to hear the radio broadcast. KDSJ-TV won't be there, but we'll be in Hot Springs for Lee Deadwood. We'll have their first Lee Deadwood game. They'll play in the Hot Springs Bison. They won state in Class B last year, but been off to a rocky start. Lee Deadwood, they're still trying to get footing as a program, but could be a good game there in Hot Springs. And then, of course, Saturday, you guys – we'll have the call there with you guys. Steve Ammerman will be on the call as usual, doing his best work with the Yellowjackets all year round. He's doing your guys' game against St. Thomas. And then right after that, you'll shoot it on over to Mitchell. Well, I will be following the Spartans. So I'll make the road trip over to Mitchell and see if Spearfish can pull out to a 3-0 start this season. So busy week right here on KDSJ Sports. Anyway, getting started with our episode, just kind of breaking the ice a little bit more. But Coach Breske, again, 5th year as Black Hills State University football coach. It's you guys, your record here, 17-18, but I think if you asked everyone around town, it's been a giant step in the right direction pretty much your entire time here, at least my opinion. Then again, I got here at the same time you did. But anyway, if you want to briefly talk about what got you back to Spearfish and just your day-to-day operations as the face of Black Hills State football.
Yeah, do you want me to go back on how I ended up taking this job? Is that kind of what we're talking about, Clayson?
Might as well.
Well, my wife and I both went to school here. We met our first week on campus. Never were serious dating. Never dated until actually right around our junior year. But we hung with this group. She was on the basketball team. I was playing football. And we all kind of that 05 class hung out quite a bit. But, we started seriously dating around junior year, senior year. And then her and I moved out to Chicago in the summer of 2011 for my first coaching gig. And, when we moved in together, of course our parents weren't thrilled and everything. But, we grew a lot together, I think, as a couple. And I found out real quickly, I was like, I'm never going to find – a better woman out there than this. She's my soulmate. I truly believe that we're meant for each other. And so I proposed to her when we lived in Chadron after one of our home games. We actually hosted Black Hills State for one of our home games at Chadron. We won the game. I proposed after the game, and we were married in 2013. But through all those moves, her and I have moved from Chicago to Chadron to Sioux Falls to St. Louis to here. All of those moves before we moved back to Spearfish, we always had this dream, man, we'd love to go back to Spearfish. And, for me, I wanted to take charge of the football program. I had some opportunities to come back as an assistant with the previous staff. But, just the timing never seemed right. And so was at Lindenwood previously. I spent 6 seasons with a head coach by the name of Jed Stugart. Mm-hmm. Jed brought me on at Sioux Falls. He took over for Kalen DeBoer. Yeah, Kalen DeBoer left Sioux Falls to go to Eastern Michigan, and Jed was there for 6 seasons. His last 3, I was there, and we had a great run. We went 32-5 in 14, 15, 16. He got a job offer to go to Lindenwood, took his entire staff, including me, along, and we went down there and turned kind of a losing program, a program that was solid in NAI, moved up to D2 right around the same time Black Hills did, and they were kind of suffering through MIAA play. Mm-hmm. And so we were fortunate enough to get
that's also a tough conference there, too.
There was no weekends off, like, ever in that league. And so, we went 4-7 our first year, 4-7 our second year. Then our third year, we ended up going 9-4. We made it to the second round of playoffs. We broke a number of school records. That year we won, I believe it was 4 games on the last play of the game that season in would have been to the 2019 season. But it was an incredible year, and I'll never forget where I was when I heard that the position here had opened up. We were actually doing our selection Sunday at Lindenwood, and got a text from one of my buddies and said, hey, the job at Black Hills just opened up. And from there, things moved pretty quickly. I knew I wanted to throw my name in the hat. Kind of felt like I was an unlikely candidate. I was coaching offensive line and was a recruiting coordinator at at Lindenwood Division II at the time. And without coordinating experience and head coaching experience, I kind of felt like I was going to be at the bottom of the barrel selection-wise, but came and interviewed. Feel like I interviewed very strong. And really, the central focus of coming to interview in Spearfish was show your passion, right? That's what I kept telling myself is show your passion for this place. You played here. We were really solid when I played here. Our 06 team is going into the Hall of Fame here in a couple of weeks at Swarm Day, so that's going to be exciting. But I feel like I wanted this job, and perhaps some of the other candidates just needed a job. And this was the job that I always wanted. And so that shined through really well in our interview process, and I was blessed enough to be offered the job, accepted on the phone. As soon as I was offered the job, we were sitting at a Mexican restaurant in St. Louis with the kids, and people around were probably like, why is this big dude crying over his salsa? Is it that hot? Like, no, it's not. But it's a dream come true. I take my position very seriously. It's a huge responsibility to be in charge of as many young people as I am and coaches. And so, my goal every day is just to make sure that the people around me have what they need, and that I'm leading with courage and providing resources and, keeping our focus. That's kind of my biggest role as the head coach, is just providing direction, focus, and being honest with the guys and loving up on them and those type of things. It's been awesome. The one thing I miss, coaching football. I don't coach a lot of ball, as you recall, when you were an athlete, helping out with some elite teams units. Coach running backs one year here, coach tight ends another year. This year I stepped away from all positional coaching and let my staff handle that. And boy, I just miss coaching a lot. So.
Yeah, a lot of the things that, especially at the college level, you more or less turn into a CEO rather than an actual on-field coach.
Right.
Of course you have the final say in everything that really goes on, but no, it definitely turns into a CEO role, from what I've gathered from the outside looking in. But, every year comes new challenges, and especially new faces, and you got a new face at quarterback wearing number 4 and transfer quarterback. If you want to briefly talk about your experience with him on campus.
Yeah, and, I mentioned this at our Gridiron Gathering last Friday prior to our home opener. With that crowd, I never thought in a million years we'd be into a transfer quarterback situation or a cycle. When I first took the job and we got going, we had the full intention to sign a freshman, a high school senior, bring him in and start him for 4 years, and just kind of ride a freshman quarterback or a group of freshman quarterbacks and develop them over 4 years. And, we ended up not getting the guys that we wanted, and we felt really, really good about the quarterbacks that we had on the roster in 2021 and 22. We did bring in a few guys. You'd remember Aiden Willard. After that, Jake Blair came in as well, and he's still with us. We had to part ways with one of our quarterbacks right after the 22 season ended, and we had about a month before the next semester, the spring semester, started. And so we went to work, and we were able to get Tanner Clarkson. And Tanner came in that spring, kind of really won the job in the summer and then the fall camp of 23, and was a 1-year starter grad student for us, is now still in the grad program coaching wide receivers on our staff now. But it did leave that gap, okay? And now, like I said, we're just kind of in that cycle, right? The idea is bring in a transfer. As he's playing, we're developing the younger guys, and as that kid graduates, the younger guys can step into that role. And we just felt like we wanted to have better options this year after Tanner finished his playing career. So we went back into the portal. We were able to trip in Luke Doobie back this winter on an official visit. He loved it. He actually committed in December, may have been January, and then had to finish school at Cornell in the spring semester. So he wasn't with us this spring. Also that mid-year, we brought in Dayton Tafoya on a visit. Dayton's from Fresno. He played as a true freshman at El Camino Community College. And so we brought in those 2 transfers. Day was with us all spring. Luke joined, moved here in June and started training with the team on a voluntary basis. And you know what's incredible is they voted Luke captain before he ever threw a pass on Saturday for the Jackets. And I think that just speaks to his character, his leadership, his commitment, his work ethic, his poise, the way he carries himself. Our guys see him as a leader and respect him in that way. And I thought he played really good for a guy who hasn't started a football game since the senior year of high school and hadn't been tackled in over 2 years.
Whew.
So I was kind of expecting maybe a little bit more jitters, and the dude was ice cold. He was great. Threw
Awesome.
for what? He ended up throwing for 295. We had some stat corrections and 2 touchdowns. He had our longest run of the day. I was really, really proud to see what he did.
Let's talk a little bit about that Southwest Baptist game in the first game. Of course, you guys came out with the win, 24-14. Gave up that touchdown, kickoff return touchdown to begin the game. But you guys quickly, especially defensively, you really didn't let them do a lot. Only gave up the 1 touchdown in the fourth quarter, your defense did, and pretty much, and ever since your tenure here at BH, your guys, the defense here, the Jacket defense, the 411 has always been a weapon, to say the least. Yeah. And talk a little bit about Coach JB and that 411 defense, this year's edition of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, JB will tell you, he'll be the first person to tell you that we got away from our identity on defense a little bit last year. We may have kind of gone down the road of we got to protect our guys, we got to keep them healthy. Let's bubble wrap this guy, and we kind of paid the price a little bit. You go back to the 22 season, our defense finished second in the conference in total defense behind, the national runner-up, Colorado School of Mines. So we felt really strong about where our defense was in 22. And to be frank, we lost a lot of production on our defense in 23. Particularly, it felt like in the defensive line group, we just weren't coming up with the sacks and the TFLs as we were the year before. And so the challenge has kind of been thrown down to those guys, and, boy, they played, especially our D-line group, they played out of their minds this weekend. And so, I want to throw praise to Kellen Collier and Nick Arnold, Zane Hood. Malik Ritchie had a great game, ended up with 2 sacks, had a number of tackles, was really, really sharp for us. Cooper Brown, freshman Isaiah Morales, Slater Macco. There's a number of guys, Eric Eads, in those position groups that, they just played out of their mind. They played so hard. They were so physical. We didn't blitz like the entire game, it felt like. And we were able to create pressure and keep Colin Sutton kind of hemmed up for the most part. But they played a good game defensively this weekend. It seemed like the few breakdowns we had, one of the particular breakdowns led to a touchdown. And then there was just a couple other breakdowns that led to some 22, 25-yard receptions that were just unnecessary that we'll look to get cleaned up. But I think we're off to a good start. Yeah. Yeah,
and especially starting off 1-0 at home. You guys haven't had a home opener to start the season, I think.
Since 21.
21 would have been my freshman year, actually.
Yeah,
would have been the first time that, and I say that saying that I'm super old and been here a long time, but no, it really has been a while since you guys had that home opener. And of course, you guys traveling up to St. Paul, starting, again, you guys leaving Thursday, I believe is what you said?
Yeah, we're going to leave tomorrow morning, yeah.
Yeah, and Tommy's team, especially the defense, is going to be tested again. Tommy's, I haven't looked at too much film on them, but I remember from them last year, they were big, physical, offensive line, like to run the ball, kind of like to play good defense. Kind of one of those smash mouth style of teams, you could say. But I guess, what are you looking forward to when playing the Tommies?
Yeah, I think we're going to get their best. Unfortunately for them, they're 0-2. They were picked to finish second in the PFL this year, and right now they're at the bottom of the standings in their league. So they're going to be extremely hungry for a win. I keep getting this stat wrong. I think that they had won 42 straight home games.
Who?
And now they've lost 2 in a row to start the season to
Wow.
University of Sioux Falls and UNI. And, the Sioux Falls game was somewhat close. I think it was a 34-13 score. The UNI game was a lot closer, but their offenses had a slow start to their season. We can't expect them to come out and play slow or be unproductive against us. They're big up front, just like you said, Clayson. They're heavy 22, 21, 12 personnel. They're going to be under center quite a bit. They have a fullback, right? You don't see a
yes.
lot. They have a fullback. I like what they do, and they have an identity. You know what you're going to expect when you go to watch their offense play, but you know, they've been playing a couple different quarterbacks, 2 different quarterbacks, and so that presents challenges in itself. But yeah, just not off to the start that I'm sure Coach Caruso would like for their offense, but they're a great football team. They're very disciplined. They're extremely physical. They recruit really, really well. They have culture. They're a good football team, and we got to expect that they're going to be playing their butts off to get back on track at home.
And, I mean, just on paper, calling a spade, they're a D1 opponent. You guys are a D2 opponent.
Exactly.
So
right.
Traditionally, even if you're on an 0-2 start, if they would ever have a get-right game, it'd be now against you guys. So, no, it should be a pretty good contest versus St. Thomas. Keep going with this episode. Again, we're here in the Millstone Family Restaurant here in Spearfish. Coach Josh Breske here with Black Hill State University football. Talked a little bit about the quarterback, Luke Doobie, the new single caller there under center. Let's talk a little bit more about some more new players in with the program that are getting playing times. You want to briefly go over some new faces you have wearing the black and gold this year?
For sure. You know, I think one guy that I want to shout out to is our center, Christian Filani. Christian's a true freshman, okay? So we had Jace Wheeler slated to be our starter, kind of coming out of fall camp through the summer. Jace Wheeler, also, he's a redshirt freshman, so he'd be getting his first snaps as well. But Jace has kind of got some lingering injuries. We're hoping to get him back this weekend, perhaps this weekend, maybe next week. So Christian had to kind of step up in a role as a true freshman and play center, and he played so hard. We had a lot of issues with just movement and seeing and chasing things back against the grain, but he protected really well, was manned up quite a bit in our pass pro. I was really impressed with just how hard he played. Now it's just got to play well. You got to execute, and so execution.
Got to be consistent with it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a funny analogy, but you've heard me say it before. You can play hard and lose. You know, you can go out in a boxing match and just swing as hard as you can and still get your butt beat. You know, you got to have your eyes open. You got to have calculated moves and punches. You got to play good defense. You can't just go out there with a blindfold on and say, well, I fought really hard. Well, yeah, but we didn't land many punches.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got to execute guard, center, guard this week. I was really happy with how our tackles played. But, yeah, no sacks, no turnovers this last game. And I think that's huge, especially with a true freshman center who's probably going to start again this weekend.
Awesome. Well, about halfway done with this episode, as we always do here on the From the Bench podcast, and take a quick break in the action here from our sponsor who's giving us this lovely venue, the Millstone Family Restaurant. We'll have a quick 30-second timeout, and then we'll come back with our famous Millstone Minute right here on the From the Bench podcast.
Fair price. That's what you expect, what you'll get at the Millstone Family Restaurant in Spearfish. Perfect for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or to grab a bite to eat before or after the game. Choose from daily specials, and a trip to the fresh soup and salad bar is always a hit. Plus, the Millstone can accommodate larger groups, like buses or your next meeting in their private party room. So, if it's just you and a friend or the whole team, get a great meal at a great price. The Millstone Family Restaurant in Spearfish.
And thank again our friends at Millstone for giving us this venue, as it's an excellent home-style meal in a family atmosphere. That's what you get with the Millstone Family Restaurant in Spearfish. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, dine-in, carry-out is perfect before or after the game. Try one of our tasty daily specials or just a trip to the always fresh soup and salad bar. Plus, the Millstone can accommodate larger groups, like in this room that we're in here, such as buses or private party, anything you ask. So if it's just you, a friend, the head football coach of Black Hill State University, or whoever you want, come to the Millstone Family Restaurant to get a great meal at a great price right here in Spearfish. And with that, it is time to go to our Millstone Minute, as You remember of course you remember the hot seat. Why am I saying this? But you know the hot seat.
Yeah.
It's a very sped up version of that. And for those our watchers and viewers on YouTube and on Facebook Live, pretty much the Millstone Minute is rapid fire. First thing comes to your head, say the answer, respectfully, of course.
Sure, of course.
But you got a minute to go through 12 questions, see if you can get them all done.
All right.
If you win, congratulations. If you don't, congratulations.
I won't be invited back.
Yes. You'll be lower on the depth chart for the next return visit. So here we go. The Millstone Minute, starting in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite pregame meal?
Pancakes and sausage.
Favorite game day meal, so like watching football?
Watching football? Oh, gosh. Chicken. Fried chicken.
Awesome. Dream car?
Dream car. Oh, gosh. Big truck. Big truck. Don't care.
The best Black Hill State University Yellowjacket player of all time, in your opinion?
Zach Alcorn.
What's on your pregame playlist?
Pregame playlist. A lot of Bob Marley. I'm trying to calm myself down a little bit.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Play for Shattern or play for Tech? You had the choice.
Shattering.
Fair enough. Briefly, favorite football memory?
Running a championship gasser as a sophomore when it was optional.
Fair enough. Favorite team to play against?
South Dakota Mines.
If you could coach any athlete of all time, who would it be?
Michael Jordan.
Why do you coach?
To make a transformation in the lives of the people I work with.
Best game day snack?
Gushers.
Alternate career path?
A rancher. I want to be like you.
I like the answer. And, oh, gosh, we blew by our minutes. Holy cow.
Oh, shoot.
I guess, finally, who is your inspiration?
Coach Long, head coach at Shatter State College. He was my O-line coach all 5 years. Was my head coach for 2 years, and I also coached for him for 2 years.
Awesome. Well, that was more or less the Millstone at 2 minutes. But that was our Millstone Minute. Again, I thank the Millstone Family Restaurant for giving us the Millstone Minute. Anyways, again, keep going with this episode. Just a few more segments left. And then, of course, you guys got a busy day trying to get ready to pack up the bus, get all players on board and everything set up, and go beat up us on some Tommies. But
That's right.
We're going to go a little bit back into the past. Talk about a little bit about your playing days at Black Hill State University. What all kind of you remember and what you enjoyed and what all kind of you gathered from with your time as a Yellowjacket.
It was a different time. I'll only start by saying that. We could do two-a-days. We used to practice down in the valley behind the Young Center. So we had Pappick Field. We had the lower field kind of behind the crossbars there, the uprights. And then that field that's kind of nearest the throwing field now, that was a Skelly field. And so back in those days, it was you were over on Pappick doing Indy, and then a megaphone would go off, and you'd run all the way over to the field, the throwing field for Skelly. Then you'd run back for inside run, and then you'd run down for one-on-ones. And it was it felt like an NFL, what I know today as like an NFL training camp. We had a lot fewer guys. I didn't realize that at the time, but some of the guys I played with had mentioned, hey, you remember, shoot, we could travel 60, but sometimes we'd only take like 48 guys on road trips. We were eating a lot of bologna sandwiches. I think the year I got there, they just had upgraded from like picnic bologna sandwiches to Subway bologna.
Oh, you guys are really upgrading.
Subway. But it was just a different time, you know. We were sleeping 4 to a room. I redshirted my first year as a tight end, came back that spring of my first year and got a position change to tackle, which I wasn't thrilled about right away, but I had some athletes on the team, some guys I looked up to came and just kind of put me in my place and just said, hey, this is going to be good for the team, so why are you being, why are you feeling this way about it? And I said, you're right, I'll give it a chance. And came back that fall camp, and the guy ahead of me hurt his knee, and I got thrust into a starting role, and I never gave up that spot at left tackle. And so I got to start for, somewhere around, I think, 44, 45 straight games at left tackle, never missed a game. There's probably some games I should have missed, but it's just different, you know. You played through a lot of injuries. You played through a lot of sicknesses. And, you know, my motivation back then was just I wanted to make my teammates proud. I wanted them to respect me. I didn't want to be looked upon as a guy who wasn't doing his job. And so that was a huge motivation to me, that, and I was always trying to impress my position coach and you know, and just impress my coaches. And so that kind of drove my motivation every day. We were running a ton of plays. I mean, a lot of plays, like way too many plays. But we were good, you know, and it was just a different time. So I really loved my experience here. I played for 2 head coaches, John Scott, my first 3 years, and then Jay Long took over as my head coach my last 2 years. And, you know, it's guys like John Scott, guys like Jay Long that made me want to coach. I came here as a boy. I figured out who I was. I learned how to show up on time and how to be held accountable, how to be responsible. I learned so much, and I had a huge transformation in my life. And when I got done with football, I kind of just was lost. And I'm like, I don't want to live without this. I need this. I want this. And so I volunteered for free the year after I was done playing and kind of caught that bug. And right away, my coaching why was about me. I'm coaching because I need it and I can't live without it. And then as I kind of grew as a coach and were exposed, you know, to different people, Jared Williamson at Robert Morris, which is now Roosevelt, Jed Stugart at Sioux Falls, I really learned that there's a huge responsibility as a coach to make an impact in the people that we're around. And so, you know, that means that I got to be at my best. And so working to grow spiritually, working to grow professionally, working to grow as a leader, those are all things that I take very seriously. It's things that I'm intentional about, and I'm hoping that it's producing results. I like to think that it is. And, yeah, it's been a heck of a journey from being a player back in the early 2000s to coaching now in this 2020 era. Kids are different. Everything's just so different, but it's been such a cool blessing.
Awesome. And, of course, you guys were NAIA back in the day, I do believe.
Vegas Gold was that was what we were doing back then. It was forest green, Vegas Gold,
Yep.
and a little bit of black. We were wearing New Balance jerseys. Oh, yeah.
Bet you guys were thinking those were kind of
They were all right.
They were the deal. I remember seeing some of those jerseys around. And, I mean, were those the jerseys I was on those blocking dummies?
Yeah. The green ones, you mean?
Yeah.
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 Kind of had almost like a script of jackets.
Yep. I remember. Yep. I remember seeing pictures about that, and had the gold Yellowjacket on the side of the helmet and the black face masks. And
I think my senior year we went from New Balance to Nike, and Nike, I don't think they were offering that Vegas, and that's when we went to that athletic gold. It was so cool. We were all, we were big time, Nike. That forest green and athletic gold. So.
And now you guys got those sick black uniforms. And I always thought about that. It's like, when I first got there, and of course my class came, it's like, we're Black Hills State. Why don't we have black jerseys? That'd be so cool. And of course, the year after I medically retired, you guys got them back. I'm like, am I really that hurt? Those look sick. So
they turned out great.
Yeah, no, those are awesome. You guys just got new white uniforms this year, and
yeah, we'll pack those up and roll those out this weekend.
So I do have to ask, being a former player, are the all whites coming back out this weekend, or are we doing white and green?
We're going all white.
All white, yes.
Yeah.
Loved those those all white uniforms were clean.
Yeah.
I loved those, dude.
You got to feel good, right?
Oh yeah. Feel good, look good, play good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We all know it.
Especially against a D1 opponent, you got to look your best.
Absolutely.
You got a little more wider audience that you're in front of. But to kind of end off this episode, what are you most looking forward to? I know you don't want to look too far ahead in the future.
Sure.
But RMAC play starts next week, conference play. You guys were, I believe, voted to finish 4th in the conference?
5th.
5th.
Yep.
Mines, Western.
And then Mesa was ahead of us.
Mesa, that's right. That was the one I was missing. But anyways, you got Fort Lewis come to town, start off conference play. So you start off at the bottom of the RMAC then the next week you play the top of the RMAC on the road. So
crazy, right?
You get both ends of the spectrum right off the way for conference play. But, of course, it's only have one game under your belt, playing a tough Tommy's team this weekend. But what are you most looking forward to when it comes to conference play?
I think what I'm most looking forward to when it comes to conference play is just understanding the familiarity of the teams that we're playing and kind of using the past a little bit, those past matchups to inspire the team just to improve and do better. Take a team like Fort Lewis, for instance. You remember back in 22, we hosted them at home, and we had a record day. I mean, I don't even really want to say the score, but we got after it. It was. Well,
let's just say
do you want to say it?
All I was going to say is that the Touchdown Tuesday they had at the bookstore, I pretty much got a $70 jacket for free. It was awesome.
So enough said on that.
Yeah.
I got a lot of respect for Coach Johnny Cox and his team and what they've done. But, yeah, this last year we went to their place, and, the game from 22 somehow was giving us juice in 23 to think we were just going to show up and roll. And I want to say we played within maybe it was like a 20-point game, maybe 21. Could have been less.
I think it might have been less than that.
It might have been less than that.
I can't think of off the top of my head, but I want to say it was less than that.
Yeah. So those stories I think are great, to be able to say, hey, look, we did this in 22. You thought because of what we did in 22 we were going to do this in 23, and here's what actually happened. So why on earth would you let anything that happened in the past guide you from, a motivational standpoint or give you confidence that you're going to execute on a higher level just because of what happened a year ago? No, execution comes from focus, knowledge, and effort. That's really what it comes down to. So there's a lot of stories, I think, with these RMAC matchups, Clayson, that we can use with our team. We don't have a ton of stories, right? With St. Thomas, with SBU, and those type of things. And then, the travel is great. I don't know why I said that, Clayson. The travel's not great. It's pretty far, but we're familiar. What does it look like to go stay in Colorado Springs? Familiar meals when we go to Grand Junction, same hotels when we go to these different towns. So just kind of cut out a little bit of the unknown and get back to we know what to expect when we go to Colorado Mines or to Mesa.
I do apologize. I was trying not to die there for a second.
I was intense. You handled it well, though.
Been battling a sickness for about the past week, so trying to get on top of that. But aside from that, as that was a look into RMAC play, that's all I really had for this episode of the podcast. So, Coach Breske, anything you want to add?
No. I say no, and then I immediately start thinking about what I can say. What's really special this year is the group of seniors that we have. Think back, Doodles, Nick, Moody, Jaden Marquez. These are guys that came in either back in 2020 or in 21. John Nordzy, Zane Hood, Eric Eads, those guys. And so this is really cool for me and for my wife and I. We operate this football team as a family. And so we are, for the first time, her and I are getting to see athletes that I recruited, came in as freshmen, and go all the way through and actually walk at graduation this year. For whatever reason, I've only ever been able to stay at a school for 3 years max at a time, so you never got to see guys come in, right, as true freshmen and walk across the stage. And so that'll be really, really special. I'm looking forward to that this year.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you for joining the From the Bench podcast. And again, hopefully to be live here every week. Want to definitely give a shout out to the Millstone Family Restaurant for giving us this awesome venue. And again, we're hopefully going to be live every week here, anywhere from Monday to Wednesday, here on YouTube, on our YouTube page at KDSJ-TV, on Facebook Live. And, again, you can rewatch all these episodes as well on YouTube and Facebook. But anyways, that's all I have. So, Coach Breske, thank you for joining the show. It's been fun. And good luck this weekend when you head up to the great state of Minnesota.
Let's go 1-0.
Absolutely. And anyways, that will do it for this episode of the From the Bench podcast. Join us again next week as we sit down with some more Northern Black Hills sports athletes, coaches, and get more of an inside depth of what's going on in this area of sports. Anyways, I'm your host, Clayson Davis. Thank you for joining us, and I hope to see you guys again next time.